Okay, I'm a little slow, people.
Oh, now we see it recording.
Got a lot going on.
Okay, so now we're recording. All right, so we're gonna start off with number one, the physiology, which is what I was just talking about and playing my song and kind of trying to get you guys to jump up and down, right? His favorite saying is emotion is created by motion. And he repeats this over and over and over again. And he's like, think about it. Think about your body language. You know, your body language literally sends signals to your brain and everyone who's in the room with you that can see your body language about how you're feeling, what's going on in your mind, right? Like, I am the worst at rolling my eyes at people. So sometimes people know what I'm thinking just way too easily, right? I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I am a typical New Yorker, like, you know what I'm thinking, whether you like it or not, that's the way it is. But what was amazing to me was he was literally talking about posture. And can you guys see me and the screen or just the screen?
Both.
Okay. So just so you can see me and I can like demonstrate this, he literally was like, stand up in your peak state. Like, what makes you feel like you're in a dominant state? Like, you feel good right now. And he's literally like, you know, you got your shoulders back, tits out for lack of a better word. And like, you're feeling good. But he's like, literally feel that posture and then put your fingers right here on your chest. And everybody, even if you're seated, just kind of sit up straight. Put your fingers right here on your chest and then slowly start to like slump. And the amazing thing is go back into like what feels good and then you slowly slump. And it's literally, it takes like 2 millimeters. Like 2 millimeters. And that feeling of like, yeah, I'm a badass, look at me, completely goes away when you just do this. So your posture, your body language is literally giving away so much and it's affecting how you're thinking, right? In your brain. So I love you, Mia. Thank you. I mean, he literally talks about a study where they took patients that were depressed and the only thing that they did was make them stand in front of a mirror and smile for 10 minutes a day. And all they had to do was stand in front of that mirror and smile, looking at themselves in the mirror for 10 minutes a day. And after a week, half of them like reported that they were like half as depressed as they were before. And after a month, most of them weren't even depressed anymore. So just a simple thing, like I have it here, but it says like you can smile just to trick your brain into thinking you're feeling better than you actually are. And eventually everything else will change with it. So just think about that, right? Your physiology is so key.
I try to never answer the phone without smiling.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's true, especially depending on who I'm going to talk to too, because they will totally call me out. What's wrong? I'm like, nothing. Or like, so I have to be like, hey, how's it going? It's so nice to hear from you.
It's that resting bitch face, right? People are like, why are you angry? I'm not angry. What are you talking about? Right. But like, think about it. Just, you know, that affects everything that you're doing. So, you know, Tony Robbins does it constantly. Every 5 minutes, it'd be like, all right, they just throw on a song. Mia, just randomly call Liz's cell phone at some point during this because she literally changed her sound of her ringtone to be a train whistle so that could cue her to start dancing. So at any point during this call, anyone call Liz and then we all have to dance, okay? All right. So
my daughter thinks I'm crazy, right?
But no, it's true. And so physiology is number one, but I mean, obviously, just think about it. At any point during the day, if you're not feeling good, literally get up, do like 10 jumping jacks, whatever it is, right? Work out every day. We all know that we've heard the importance of having a consistent workout routine and how important it is. It's going off? Is it going off? Is it going off? What? All right, that's it. No, everybody has to jump up and down. I'm not kidding. Yeah. Everybody up. Yes!
You got a trampoline now.
Camilo's got the baby. He's like, I gotta stand up and bounce no matter what. Okay, good. And I'm glad you guys
no, I'm in the store the other day and I was like, yeah.
Okay, so literally, we were in Tony Robbins for 4 days. On day 2, we were jumping up and down so much, and it hurt on the wood floor in that house that I called my husband, and I was like, can you bring me the mini trampoline, please? Just steal it from the kids' room. So now I put it in my office, and the kids aren't getting it back in their playroom. So just thought everyone might want to know that.
But it my tennis shoes next time because it would save me.
I've been using my yoga ball the last couple days to help with my diaphragm and my breathing and the bouncing. So
yeah,
it works.
Good. So, all right, next slide is focus. All right, guys. So hopefully that changed on your end.
Yes, it did.
Again, one of my favorite sayings that Tony talks about all the time is where focus goes, energy flows. And it's literally, what are you focusing on right now? What you have to make clear, concise goals for what you want for your future, right? Do not be indecisive about things. Focus on the things you want, right? That you're working towards. Don't focus on things that hold you back, and don't focus on things that you don't want to become. Okay. So focus on what you want, because when you say something to yourself, like, well, I want to do a better job than my mom, right? Like, I want to be a better mom than my mom was. I won't do that same shit she did. Like, when you tell your brain, like, don't do that, I'm a pool player, right? So I can literally be focused on a shot right now. It's the easiest shot. All I got to do is get the 8 ball in the pocket. It's right there hanging in the corner. But I bend down and I'm like, don't miss. You miss. Your brain doesn't know the difference between miss, don't miss. It doesn't hear the don't in between. So really think about when you're like, know what your goals are and focus on the outcomes that you do want. So if you didn't have a good role model and you're like, my parents were shit and I don't want to do that, well then go watch some TV or find a good role model and model what they did. What?
Leave it to Beaver.
Leave it to Beaver. Yeah, I don't care. Find a show, find something, but focus on what you do want, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it will give you clarity, makes your goals, your dreams, everything that much more in reach when you can really focus on what you want. And I mean, I didn't put it in here specifically, but visualizations become so important. So if you can get a clear focus on what you want and visualize those things, that will make it so much easier to attain your goals. And then again, just what state are you in right now, right? Like, to be depressed, he literally talks about physiology. He did an experiment with one of the girls in the audience, or I think it was a video, right, Liz, that she said she was like pretty much suicidal. Like, she was so depressed. And he literally asked her, okay, show me what depression looks like. Now that sounds silly, but again, it was like, she had to like think about, and he's like, tell me, what do you focus on? What do you think about when you're depressed? What's going on? And you see her change, push her head down, tears come in her eyes. Like, she was so distraught. And I mean, in her case, she had just lost a baby, but she said, I don't even know if I want a baby. Just my husband really wants one. And he's like, yeah, thinking that shit, you're going to be depressed. You know what I mean? But it's like, what are you focusing on? What's going on up here that's like not in alignment and not making you feel good? So I don't know if that example helps, but it was really powerful to watch.
Well, wait, just what you said. Don't miss the shot. You just put that miss in your brain. It's like, I'm going to make the shot. And, you know, I think of all those, I mean, think about the football games that you watch, and it's down to the last second, and it's up to the field goal kicker, and he has to make it. And so he kicks, and they call a timeout, and he makes it, but they've called a timeout. And then he's got to kick it again after the timeout. And it's like, I'm like, he's going to miss it. He's going to, you know, it just, because that's why they do that. It screws with their brain, you know? It's like, they do it at that exact second. He makes it because he's psyched himself up and gotten into it. And so in that field, but in that scenario, it's like, that's where his brain needs to be trained, not to make the shot, because that's easy. It's to make the shot after you've missed the shot and you have to make the shot. And I don't know that that's what they focus on. And so then he has to come back out. He's made the shot. Now he misses the shot and they lose the game. And it happens so often that it's a mind, it's just because it's a mind F, you know? They're like, oh, I made it. Now they called the timeout. Now I got to go out and do it again. I got to build up my stamina and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting if they change his focus.
Yeah, it's definitely focused, because 9 times out of 10, if I miss a shot, especially an easy shot when I'm playing pool, it's because I said, don't miss or something stupid in my head. And the days where I play well, or like I win a tournament or come really far in a tournament, I literally have like these mantras in my head where I'm saying like, aim small, miss small, see the ball, hit the ball, like all these positive things, rather than, oh shit, don't miss. You know, you don't want to F this one up, don't miss, you know, like it's crazy that if you think about it afterwards, you know, dang it, that's what I was focused on. That's what I was thinking about at that moment.
Yeah, I read a parenting book, and this said, like, when you tell your kids don't do this, you're already putting the idea in their head, so they do it. They don't hear the word don't.
Well, in general, like the idea of being, like, what was it? The one, oh crap, the lady a nun that died a while back ago now, tiny little wearing
Mother
the white.
Teresa?
Mother Teresa, thank you, yes. She would sit there and talk about how she would be invited to different kinds of protests. And it was like, I don't want to go to something that's against something. I want to go to something that's for something. So, and you know, in the positive, you know, perspective, like, you know, I want to be there for supporting something, you know, positive. As opposed to, I'm against so-and-so. I'm against gun violence. I'm against this. Don't go to things that are against whatever. Promote and support things that are for something, again, in a positive again,
way.
Just twisting it to just the affirmation aspect. Yeah,
and that's exactly where we're headed tonight, and exactly what I wanted to touch base with everyone, because that is actually what hit me, Elda. Like what you said, that's what got me thinking about why having certain like limiting beliefs and the language that you speak is so important. It wasn't the things that I would say to myself, you know, it wasn't the things that I would say that would be like, oh, Marie, why'd you do that? Like, that was stupid. What'd you make that decision for? It was me telling my kids, you know, don't spill that. And they spill it. Don't don't do that. So, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, what am I teaching my kids? Right. And that became like really powerful to me when I, you know, especially like I said, I've done Tony Robbins, but he'll tell you like repetition is the mother of all skill. You got to hear it a few times before it really sticks.
It's the same as working out. You work a muscle to work out. It's no different than our brain. You can't do one and done and think, I heard it, therefore I know, therefore I'm good.
Yeah. And so, you know, so for me, out of all three things that he says affects your state. So again, physiology, right? You're not feeling good, get up, move, do some jumping jacks, whatever it is. 2, change what you're focusing on. And 3, it's that language. It's how are you speaking to yourself and to the people around you? Like literally, a lot of what's on my PowerPoint today, I was like going on the Tony Robbins website and looking at all of his things. And I'm like cutting and pasting and putting everything on here for you guys. But I love this because this big bold letters says, change your words, change your life. And I was like, that's so powerful. You know, you speak to yourself internally and out loud. And how are you speaking to yourself? Are you having negative self-talk, negative thoughts, you know, or are you always positive? Like Tony Robbins says, the reason why he is the way he is today is because his inner thought, his innermost thought is, how can I change this? How can I make it better? How can I change this? How can I make it better? So every single person that he meets, every single problem that he encounters, his first thought is always, how can I change this? How can I make it better? You know, and think of just how that one thing is so powerful, because I definitely come from a place where I say to myself crap thing all the time. You know, I'm like, I'm too lazy for that. I'm too tired today. I'm not good enough to do that. Oh, tomorrow, you know. But whatever it is, if you could change and have like one consistent inner thought, that it can literally change your life. So again, I thought that this was so powerful. You know, it says if your internal self-talk is negative, chances are that your external experiences will be negative as well. This quote I really liked. It actually wasn't Tony Robbins, but it was on his website by another author. And it's, you know, language shapes our behavior, and each word we use is imbued with multitudes of personal meaning. The right words spoken in the right way can bring us love, money, and respect, while the wrong words or even the right word spoken in the wrong way can lead a country to war. That's powerful shit right there. Maybe I shouldn't say shit so much either. I don't know. But, you know, carefully orchestrate our speech and focus on achieving your goals and dreams and bring them to fruition. It's just so much a matter of like the focus, and the language it's just so powerful. So what I wanted to do was take everyone through a quick minute and see if y'all want to take a minute and write down, what do you think some of your limiting beliefs are? Or as Tony would say, what are your belief systems, or BS, meaning the bullshit that you say to yourself? And think about it. Take a minute to really think. And, you know, if you have a pen and paper, I encourage you to just kind of write a couple things down right now, because I think in today's society, especially, there's so many things that, you know, you can come up with. What were you taught as a child? You know, what do you say over and over to yourself? What's your like inner monologue that really, there's a question, I promise, that you say to yourself over and over again, and you don't even realize it. And sometimes it's easier to point it out in other people. Okay. I will give you for instance, my mom loves to say, oh, well, like things like this always happen to me. And, you know, it could be like, she just went to the store and bought something and it was broken, and these things always happen to me. I'm like, Mom, it's not a big deal. Go to the store, return it, get a new one, like exchange it. But it doesn't matter what it is. It's always, why do these things always happen to me? And I can point it out, and I look at her and I'm like, because you say, why do these things always happen to me? You're like literally telling the universe, I want that shit to happen to me, because that's the question you ask yourself all the time. It's crazy. Mine, for example, what I realized, and this is horrible, but it really was, my inner question was always, what's wrong with me? I would always say, what's wrong with me? Why did I do that? What's wrong with me? Why did I say that when I didn't mean it? What's wrong with me? Why did I blank, whatever? But what's wrong with me was literally the question that I would repeat over and over and over again in my mind. You know what that leads you to find? What's wrong with you? Like, it's not going to give you positive answers if that's really what's going on in your mind. So you really, really want to take a minute to try and think of like, and like I said, at first, it will be so much easier to spot it out on other people. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, you know, my husband, every day, he says this thing over and over, and he annoys the crap out of me, right? Liz, tell me something Scott says. I know you got a good one. What's Scott's crap?
I had a license plate made for him, said, poor Scott.
Poor Scott, right? Poor Scott. That's literally me. For me. He's like Eeyore. Oh, what's wrong with me? I love Scott.
How was your day? It's fine. Poor me. He lost his luggage. Were you guys with me? Oh, you weren't with me. He flew up to Seattle the other day. And of course, you know, how many people are on a plane these days? And he lost his luggage. And he's like, of course they lost my luggage. And I was like, oi, oi, oi. And they didn't lose his luggage. It was just somewhere else. But he's all of a sudden about F me. They lost my luggage, you know.
Yeah. And that's another thing, right? F me, like FML was like my favorite saying. I would just be like, oh, FML, this happened again. Like, why did this happen to me? Fuck my life, right? So hopefully, Elda, your kids aren't still in the room. Because they're old enough to like understand me, where Camilla's just—
they've heard all those words already.
I don't feel as bad. But I mean, so literally, you know, if you want, whether it's now or later tonight, just really think about, what do you believe? I mean, think about it. This is why there's racism in the world, is because people are taught, you know, Black people are bad, or white people or okay, we're fortune builders, right? We're all here because we want to make money and do good by ourselves and for our family, right? But what if you grew up where literally your father would repeat every day, money is the root of all evil? Is that going to have an impact on your life? Is that going to sit somewhere in the back of your mind and affect what you do on a daily basis? Like, of course that is. So a lot of these limiting beliefs aren't even something that you chose or you're conscious of. So that's why it's so important, I think, to really take a little bit of time to sit and reflect and think about those things, because once you're aware, then you can change them.
Well,
but you have to be aware.
Yeah, I told you girls a story. I write stories. There are more videos now than the stories that used to come to my brain. I wrote a story a couple years ago about the mirror. And we can see what we want to in a mirror. We can all look in the mirror and tell you everything we see. But, we're all looking here and we see a totally different person or that, and we can reflect on that. And so it's like, what do you see in the mirror? But what do you think other people see in the mirror? Be honest with yourself. Like, what do you see? Would somebody come up and tell you, oh, your nose is too big. Oh, this looks goofy on you. Your hair is the wrong color, and just think about what other people think. And that's why, that mirror that can just be we can bring our own selves to that point. So what do you think other people see in you? Not what you think, what you think, what you believe is in you. So that was just such a big thing. That reflection of the mirror, I think, is always big.
Yeah. Yes. No, I love that. And just kind of going on with those beliefs, I mean, I gave you some examples, but I'll just be open and honest with all of you. You can see into the inner thinkings of Marie, but I wanted to literally give you some examples on what came up for me during the Tony Robbins and things that we had to get over. Okay. And I don't know, Liz, should we show them the exercise on how to change it?
Well, but I wish, why didn't we record it? We were so worried about ourselves. Again, it was that limiting belief. Okay, so you want to say, we had to break a board. And when I got a board because I was part of the program. So I went to Lowe's to buy more boards, and they didn't have the right boards that either weren't going to be too thick, although now I know we could have done it. But I bought half-inch drywall instead because I didn't want anybody to get hurt, because the other thing was plywood. And so we had to break it. And it was just, they were pumping you in the background, but it was scary. And I've done it before. And even though I've done it before, you don't want to be the one not to break it or hurt your hand or do whatever. And
I will say, if
you breaking boards or drywall. Right?
Yeah. And if you ever get the opportunity in the future when Unleash the Power comes back and it's a live event, you actually get to walk on fire. And so it's an amazing, amazing experience when he gets 10,000 people. Wendy, he gets every single person. And I've literally, the first time I did, actually both times that I walked on fire was at the event in New Jersey. So they literally got almost 8,000, I think was the first one, and 10,000 was the second one that I was at, to walk across coals of fire. They literally had, I think, about 60 lanes of fire that they put out in the parking lot, and got every single person.
And it's crazy how you want to do it, because you want to get rid of that belief that, and so on those boards we wrote, and if you've been in any of the Fortune Builders mindset stuff, and they do that in there, and you get to write on there, and on one side what your limiting belief is, and on the other side what you're going to break through too. And it was empowering to us. In fact, Mia wasn't there the night we broke the board. She came a little bit later, but on Sunday night she's like, I want to break my board. I want to break my board. I want to break my board. So we wrote it on there, we set it up, and we had her break her board. And the videos of some of these people breaking the boards, there was this one woman, I mean, you could see the terror in her eyes. Because, I mean, we were all together, but this woman was alone. A lot of people, did do it individually. She was alone. And she was just demoralized. I mean, she just was. And she's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. I feel safe in this room. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And she did it. And I mean, in the end, she had like 2,000-3,000 people, likes and messages, because it was so inspiring watching her stress. You could see every single thing, feeling, everything on her body. She showed her board. I'm too fat. I'm too ugly. I'm not enough. I can't do this. On the backside, I am enough. I can do this. And she put it down. She practiced, she broke through it. I mean, she was just crazy ecstatic. So good.
Yeah. And so, like I said, it's just an amazing, amazing couple of days, because literally, like I said, there's no places where it gets bored, it gets quiet, and then all of a sudden you hear this again, where they're just like, let's go, time to jump, everybody up and down, get out of your seat. I'm running through these hills like train, oh my God. And the funny thing is, I can do it from my seat, and it still gets me excited. I'm not even up and down.
I'm a great chair dancer.
I know.
But the thing is, if you were sitting and they showed you, you had to get up because they'd be like, get up on there.
Yeah. So they literally, it was like big, it was a big Zoom call, and they would put certain people up on the board so everyone could see into their house and see what they were doing. So he would be like, get your booty off the couch, you know, Elizabeth Quinn. Like, they would read your name and be like, let's go. So, it was great. He did a really good job of trying to take the live event and bring it into your home. So I'm so grateful for you, Liz, because I didn't pay for the ticket. Liz did, and we just paid it my rental and did it together. But yeah, so just kind of going on with these beliefs, this is the list that I came up with, okay? Literally, fighting with stupid things. I'm not enough. I'm not a morning person. I have a fear of failure. But then at the same time, I'm like, if I'm too successful, people won't like me. It's not good to have a fear of failure and have a fear of success, by the way. It really messes with you. And then my last one, which was really powerful for me, just kind of embracing it and realizing it, was part of me says, if I change and grow too much, Chris, who's my husband, for all of you that don't know, that Chris and I will grow apart and we won't love each other anymore. So that was a tough one. Like, owning up to that and writing that down is powerful, you know, and then thinking through them. And then he's like, okay, now how do you change this? This is a BS, right? This is an old belief system. Let's change it. Let's not only reword it, but make it powerful, right? So I am more than enough, right? I am an excited morning person. Like, I'm going to jump out of the bed, ready to go. Failure is not an option. Where there's a will, there's a way. Like, all of these things I had written down. You know, with success, I can have a bigger impact to my family and friends and contribute to the valley here and the world. As I change and grow, I can teach my crazy husband. So Chris can grow and we can have a deeper connection with more love, become better parents, lovers, friends. Like, you really have to think about these limiting beliefs and how you can literally turn it on its side just like that and be like, no more. I'm not going to have this belief anymore. It has to change, because if it doesn't, and he walked us through another very crazy emotional exercise where it's kind of like the Christmas Carol movie. Everybody know the Christmas Carol, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. And he's like, take all of these negative beliefs that you have, all these limiting beliefs, and see yourself 5 years from now and you haven't changed, you haven't done anything. 10 years from now, you haven't changed, you haven't done anything. Double your pain, double your anxiety, double your stress level. 20 years from now, what does your life look like if you continue to hold these bullshit beliefs and not let yourself change? And so this very powerful exercise, which I'm kind of laughing because this is when our guests came and they hadn't been there for 3 days jumping up and down with us, and they were not in a peak state. So they're like, y'all crazy people joined a cult.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid and
you're performing an exorcism right now, because he's like, everyone close your eyes. They even provided like those sleep masks, right, Liz? But again, Liz was the only one signed up. So there's one sleep mask in there, but there's 4 of us in the room. And then 2 friends decided to come in right as he's explaining this process. And he's like, literally put your sleep mask on so that you're not distracted by anything, any sound, like anyone. And he's like, close your eyes and just imagine your life in 5 years and how miserable you're gonna be. Make the sound that you're going to make in 5 years with all that misery and anger in your life. And you're like, ugh. And he's like, and 10 years from now, double your pain, double your anger, double your anxiety. And I'm literally like, ah! Yeah, these poor people were like, what the hell did I just walk into? What the? I literally told them, I was like, do not go where I was just standing, because I swear to you, the floor underneath me had like snot, tears, spit. I was like, he keeps you with this like going on for like 10 minutes. Do you know how angry and sad and depressed you can get in 10 minutes of literally like, now make it stronger. He's like, be more angry. But don't change. Don't change. 20 years from now, what do you feel? Hold on to all that bullshit. And you're like, okay.
And then, what does he do after that, Marie? He leaves you in this puddle of...
I'm sweating. Hold on. I have to jump out. Okay, I have to get in a better state. That was a sad, sad place I just went. Okay. So, I mean, then he literally like breaks you of this Dickens process, he calls it, after the guy who wrote the Christmas Carol. Right. And he literally, I mean, he brings you to now changing it.
Everything you want. Everything you want.
Right. Everything you want.
Accomplished it, and now you're seeing what you've accomplished. Every dream you've had is fulfilled and set and done. And
yeah. You get to go on a nice journey, imagining everything happening well. But Liz, do you remember the 1, 2, 3 around the horn?
You had to wing it away first.
So Tony Robbins is all about the easiest way to break any habit is to interrupt your pattern. You have a pattern that causes you to like go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. like Liz, or you have a pattern that makes you sit on the couch and want to eat bonbons and be sad, right? Whatever it is, it's a pattern. And so the quickest way for you to change any habit, good or bad, is to break that pattern and recognize that in the middle of the pattern. So the exercise, and I'll just demonstrate real quick because I'm having so much fun anyway demonstrating for you guys. So he literally has you stand up. You have to take your arm, go around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Put your finger up your nose and then say, my old bullshit limiting belief was I'm not enough. I'm sorry.
In front of somebody, you have to do it.
Come on, finish it.
And then you literally, so then we did 2 at a time, and it was like 2 hands around and around, and you have to make yourself sound like, you know, Miss Piggy or whatever, and literally be like, my old limiting belief was I'm not good enough, and if I'm too successful, people won't like me. And you have to look at a partner and do it. Oh, and try and outdo each other. So Liz was my partner for part of this. And so we got to see each other pick our noses like 10 times, because I think he literally made us do it like 10 times so that we could interrupt that pattern. And it's crazy how somehow taking that physicality and moving and saying this bullshit, it really does kind of like change and trigger something in your head to be like, now it's not just a thought, and now it's not this just lovely positive thought that I wrote on paper. Now it's like in my body. There's something in my body that changed when I got to sit there with my fingers up my nose and sound like Miss Piggy. So, Liz, did you want to add anything on that? Because I know we did do it together, and it was very interesting.
No, that was good. And you know what? The frustrating thing to me is you're doing that right now. And yesterday I had a day like that, and I should have probably wound my fingers up and stuck them out my nose, because I did have a negative, frustrating day on my own. And I think, but honestly, I think I just got overheated after you and I left. I came home, I was so freaking hot.
No, and I could tell you what happened to you yesterday. You started the morning with the bullshit news.
Oh, I did.
You put yourself in a shit state right at the beginning of the day, and you told me that at lunch.
I cried before I even went to, 4:30 in the morning. I'm crying, and I don't watch the news, and I decided to turn it on, so I wasn't. And I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, why am I watching this? And it made me cry, because I was like, all they have is gloom and doom. And so that did start it in a crappy day. So I needed to do this yesterday, because just bummed out with everything.
Yeah. So Kim, I highly encourage you to look at Ricardo later and tell him that you're going to write down at least 2 or 3 beliefs that are complete bullshit and empowering beliefs. But one way that you're going to break it is the 2 of you have to look at each other and you have to roll your arm around 3 times, stick your finger up your nose and say, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
So,
well, at least I know how many thousands of people will understand that.
Yeah, if you're ever out,
if we ever do it.
Hearing because your train just went off, you're doing your pose, you're laughing at someone, you're spinning your arm around.
At least I know a couple people have attested that this is a Tony Robbins thing.
Like you can be like, woo, Tony, go, baby.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that he spoke about was that when he started off in his career, he was doing a live seminar at a hotel that happened to be close to a train. And the train would go by and you'd hear the train whistle every like hour and a half. And everyone in the room would start to get upset because the train was so loud. They couldn't hear him. Everything had to stop. People were like getting frustrated. And he was like, how am I going to, we can't let this train interrupt everything that I'm trying to teach them right now. And we're trying to put on music and get in a peak state. So this is bullshit. So what did he do? He told them, every single time you hear that train, you are going to act like a 3-year-old boy seeing a train for the first time and be like, oh my God, it's a train. And he's like, everyone has to get up and jump and dance and jump and get all excited. We're going to pretend we're counting the train cars as they go by. And then we're all going to just look at our neighbors and laugh until we sit back in our chair. For no reason, but just to change your state, right? And so I think that this is just such simple information when you hear it. It makes total sense, but if you've never heard it before, you just kind of live your life every day where you think the only thing that's going to relieve stress at the end of the day is to go grab that beer and that glass of wine and sit on the couch to relax. But if you think about it, you have so many options and opportunities to change, and you can do it in a heartbeat. Right? You don't have to rely on, I'm just going to watch and veg out and watch Netflix for 2 hours tonight because that's the only thing that's going to console me, right? There's so many things that you can do. And the most powerful one is definitely the physiology. If at any point you're feeling even slightly depressed, geez, just get up and do 30 jumping jacks. Like just that alone, I promise, will make you feel better in that particular moment. But again, like he says, repetition is the mother of all skill, and implementing each one of these every day. So having a more consistent workout routine, change what you're focused on, and just change the language and how you speak to yourselves and others. It's so, so important. And then I'll just show you guys what I did. So my last slide is, you really need daily reminders. So take these beliefs and take your new empowering beliefs and write them down, put them on sticky notes, write them on your mirror and lipstick every morning, like whatever it is that will get you going and give you reminders. Be like Liz and change your ringtone to a train whistle, because every time that train whistle goes off, it's time to jump up and down. I printed mine in Publisher and then just printed it on my wall. So literally, I will show you guys. That's right there on my wall in my office.
It's funny that you say that, because I have written on my mirror. I wrote it back there. In fact, this morning I said I need to change it, because now it's just there and I'm not paying attention to it anymore. But in my bathroom mirror, probably back in November, I wrote some of that stuff down on each side, and I need to erase it now. I need to change the color, and I need to change it up again. And the other thing I changed, because I have reminders pop up on my phone, and I know you do. But the other thing he said that it was such a profound moment to me, because think of the COVID and everything's happening. And he says, life is happening for you, not to you. And, my husband has lost his job during COVID. And I had a hard time. I had a hiccup on a house in COVID. But there's a lot of things that, we've been able to take advantage of the PPP. We got an EDL loan the other day. A couple things have been able to be put on hold. And I'm like, these would not happen if my husband lost his job and this house fell through on the first sale and then went through the next, if it wasn't happening everywhere, and I would really be in a state of suffering. Whereas now I'm like taking, this opportunity and saying, well, thank goodness COVID is happening in terms of I get to take an opportunity to have this opportunity and that, and have, this work for me. That was such a profound statement for me, because I was like, for me, we lost, and then I'm like, oh no, he lost, and I keep saying, your job is going to be 10 million times better. Somebody's going to be lucky enough to have you, and the other thing is right now he was working up in Portland. So 2 things about that. One, he came home before all this stuff went down and he was working out of the house, fortunately. But the second thing is Portland is a mess right now. And just today I was like, thank you that you are home, because I would be crazy if he was up in Portland. It's just not the environment I would have wanted him in, and not the environment he should have been in. So again, I'm thinking life is happening for us, not to us. So he was able to come home and be here and not be caught up in some of that mix and that. So that was a huge statement for me. That now shows up on my phone at 8 a.m. in the morning. Life is happening for you, not to you, every day.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I did write on here, set daily alarms on your phone. So anyone who doesn't realize too, on your phone, on your alarm, there's also a label. So you can change that label so that it doesn't just say alarm, right? And you can use it to write something empowering that you want to read every day. So I literally have one that goes off at 6:36 p.m. I don't know why that time. It just sounded like a good time. I'm usually home and eating dinner with the family or close to it. So 6:36 p.m. every day, my phone goes off and it says, give Chris love. And it plays an Andrea Bocelli love song. So that's the song that goes off with give my husband love. And now it's to the point where it's like Pavlov's dog. My husband heard it and he's like, waiting for the kiss. He just puts his cheek out.
You need to change it now. Now you need to change time.
I need to add it, send Liz
love. You need to say, I should send Liz some love right now.
I give you enough love. I literally text her the other morning. I was doing like my morning meditation, and I think I was morning priming actually with Tony Robbins, and he talks about 3 things in life that you're grateful for. And then he's like, just for fun, let's think of a coincidence. Maybe you were driving, on your way to work and you met the love of your life, or you were doing this and you met your business partner, or you're doing that or whatever. And I told her every time I hear him say that, she always comes in my head. And I'm like, Liz, you were my coincidence and I love you. I'm so grateful for you.
A whole nother topic. They're God winks, but we'll talk about that later.
No. But no, and the other thing that I wanted to say is they can become repetitive. So you have to change them up. Like I had one on here that I actually just changed it today because I was like, oh, that's just not empowering anymore. Like it would go off at 10:10 in the morning or whatever, 10:44. And it would be like, be brave, be powerful, be whatever. And so now my 10:44 alarm says I'm a badass brainstormer. So, you got to switch it up, but find a way to make this stuff habit. So whether it's, the physiology of like every day, and Liz and I spoke about this. So this was one of the awesome things about being together and doing this was we were brainstorming about what we wanted our co-working space to look like, feel like, envision it. And we were like, when we do our co-working space, I'm like, Liz, we're going to come up with a little schedule, and it's going to be like 6:30 in the morning is going to be like priming, like Tony Robbins does, and then it's going to be like 2:00 in the afternoon. There's going to be an alarm that goes off, and everyone's got to jump up and down, and we're going to play loud music for 5 minutes, and everybody's going to have to dance and get in a peak state or whatever it is, especially if you're doing cold calls, right? Get up and down, or jump up and down, I should say, before you start making those calls, right? Change your energy before you're like, ugh, I don't know if I want to make these calls right now. What if they tell me no? What if they do this? You know what? Just do 30 jumping jacks and then stand and pace while you're making your calls, right? Don't just sit there, right? Mia was saying that her team leader, he's always pacing while he's doing his calls. She's like, he can't sit still. But for some reason, talking comes so much more natural when you're just walking, pacing in a room, rather than trying to sit at your chair and look at, oh, did I comp it right? I'm looking at Zillow. I'm doing this. What if this guy doesn't want to answer the call? You get all freaked out in your head. Just take 2 minutes, jump up and down, do like Marie now on the mini trampoline every day.
I'm gonna have to order one.
On the Tony thing, I was like, why are all these people on a trampoline? Is there something we're missing? She's like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I'm gonna call Chris and have him bring it over. Besides the fact my feet are killing me. I was like, oh, should have known.
Should have
Because
known.
he talks about the power of the trampoline and what was that thing with it anyway? What his Christopher talked about, or not Christopher? What was his name? Joseph. What did he talk about with that? The power of the trampoline.
Oh, okay. So
feeling the diaphragm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the way that your diaphragm works when you breathe is when you laugh or take deep breaths, it actually drops in your stomach. And so one of the things that the trampoline or a yoga ball that you sit and bounce on or jumping up and down does is it pulls your diaphragm down when you land. So the diaphragm opening up causes your body to change all of its energy and everything inside of it, just like a deep breath does. So when we're bouncing up and down, it literally forces our diaphragm to drop and open just a little bit further. And it mimics a laugh, or it mimics a deep breath, and therefore releasing all of those chemicals that your brain would typically do when you laugh.
That's awesome.
And as well as it moves your lymph system, right? Like our blood pumps with our heart, but we have a whole lymph system that there's nothing that naturally pumps into your lymph system. So if you want all your juices and energy flowing through your lymph system, it's like runners get really good, or, just spend 5 minutes jumping up and down or doing jumping jacks or anything like that, just to get all those juices flowing. So yeah, I think it was really, really exciting. I'm so happy that we got to do it as a small group, because when you're in his live events and you're surrounded by 5,000-10,000 people, it's so much easier to just, everyone's jumping up and down. So you're going to jump up and down. Like I told my sister, I'm like, this has got to be the equivalent of what Woodstock was like. Like you're literally feel like you're at a rock concert for 4 days, even though you're learning, taking notes, crying, this, that, whatever. But like
13, 14 hours in the day. It's crazy. And we were there. I mean, we had food brought in, we run out and get it. You're like, okay, he's surely going to end soon. And then the beauty of it was we could hook it up to the TV outside and we swam in the pool and watched them from the pool for a while. Did our jumping in the pool.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah, we really did. And I'm a big proponent of his. So if you listen to his podcasts or can watch videos of him, I can probably share the link to the priming website, because I literally still every morning click on my Chrome and go to the actual website where it talks about, you probably can't see that right now.
Put it in the chat, Marie.
Yeah, I got to get this link and put it in the chat, because you can, now how do I do it from my phone to there?
Well, maybe I can.
So I also posted on my page his post video where it kind of showed like a handful of clips and things that happened and gave you the 5-minute synopsis of what we endured for the 4 days. And it was, even just watching that video, the 5 minutes, 12 seconds, like it's super, super empowering and very exciting and motivating, just the little snippets that they give you. So go watch that too, because it's amazing. I watched his video. I was at his event for multiple days and I still went and watched that video 3 times because I was like, oh yeah, that's a great quote. Oh man, like I need this reminder. Like I can watch that video every day. And it's like a little.
If you have Netflix, his Netflix, I'm Not Your Guru is free. And that shows his Date with Destiny event. So that's like an hour and a half free video that anyone could watch if you have Netflix. And you can really kind of see what it's like to be at one of his live events and the one-on-ones, because he does do some one-on-one interaction with the crowd and really help people change their lives. So anyway, I hope
put the link in there, Marie.
Did you put it in?
Yeah, I put it in there.
Okay, good.
It's in my notes here. I'm just going to tell you. It's in the notes part of my phone on an iPhone so that I can easily get to it every day. So it's in my notes section. I go to my notes. I find Tony. I do it, and then it's right there. So made it easy for myself.
Yeah, it's literally a Chrome browser window that I just don't shut on my phone. It's open all the time.
Quick question. When I'm looking at the link, TonyR.co/ is that correct?
Yes.
There's no .com or
nope.
R on the, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. No, it's exactly, I copy and pasted it. It's right there.
I just want to make sure, yeah, because when I saw the I'm like, oh, should there be an M?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
no, he's just co.
Okay.
He had to make it special for himself, I guess.
Just want to make sure it's correct. Okay, cool.
No, I appreciate that. I copy and pasted it. I work it every day.
And mostly because I typed the squat. That's why, because I would like hit the wrong, oh crap, it didn't get, so. That's why I love copy paste.
Yeah, no, I'll just double check. Yeah,
Do you
it's
believe
open.
somebody could be trained potentially to sense information?
But it looks like it's starting a commercial first.
Uh-oh.
I was
I
gonna
don't know if it always will, but it just worked.
But instead of copying pasting, you could just make a link
Yeah, I mean, that's what
shortcut.
I did. Like I say, I put it in my, and I could, but I put it in my notes and I go out and meditate and then I hit it in my notes so that it just fires up.
This is so cool. Thank you guys.
Yeah, no problem. I hope
I need to hear you in the
Kimmy, you
morning,
should
Marie.
come
This
out
is
here.
awesome.
I mean, you should come out.
You guys are such a fun group. I love it.
I know, so come out in November.
Even in 120-degree weather, you're still jumping around like that?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
In air conditioning.
Yeah, this is true. This is air conditioned. But when I had to go, I got a little elliptical machine over there. Listen, I, like Liz, was all upset about COVID when it first started. And I was like, this is BS. I can't work from home. My kids are running in and out. Like, oh, I was so upset. And, Tony gave some good examples of like, life is happening for you, not to you. Let's look at the bright side, right? Like, what are all the good things that came out of it? And honestly, now that we're a couple months into this, I can honestly say I probably have a much better relationship with my kids because I see them way more often because I have to work from home and they have to understand that sometimes mommy needs quiet time, which my husband's not home right now and they haven't come into the room once.
I know. There could be a crisis.
Well, I told them that they're not allowed in here unless one of them is dying tonight. So I was like, leave mommy alone. And I put on a movie.
Like, what happened? Well, we didn't know what the definition of dying was.
Yeah. No, but I put on a movie for them. But, we had to rearrange, my whole home office. Kim, my desk used to just be on like the second floor landing, which is just an opening, not in a bedroom, right? Like you come up to the second floor in my house and there's like an opening and then there's, rooms. And my desk was just in that opening. And after like 2 weeks of working at home like that, I was like, no, my desk needs to be in a room that can have a door, that can lock, that you guys can't come in here. And so I've honestly, like, my poor son, I had to make him change bedrooms so that he could be in a smaller bedroom. And I could take the big bedroom and put the spare bed in here for guests, but my desk fits in here. I have a yoga mat on the floor. Now I have their mini trampoline, so I stole that from them. And
those poor kids. Oh no.
It's okay. They come in here. So actually, the greatest part was after all this Tony Robbins stuff, we literally did circuit training the other morning. Okay. So my boys, I have an Alexa in this room, right? Hey Alexa, play dance music. Okay, so my boys will come in here, they'll turn Alexa on, and then we were setting the alarm on Alexa for 1 minute intervals, and we were literally taking turns from the elliptical to the mini trampoline, and then on the floor doing floor exercises. So the three of us had our 3 little stations, and every minute it was like, okay, rotate, minutes up, and then we like get up and go.
I know you said like 3 minutes in, he's like, when are we done?
Yeah, my 6-year-old was like, Mommy, I've been on the trampoline 3 times. That's like 10 minutes already, isn't it? Am I done yet? But it's fun.
Oh, too funny.
Yeah, good.
Alexa, stop music.
I couldn't even hear it when it was on.
She's quiet down there. But no, thank you everybody for joining, especially you guys in the East Coast. I know it's late, but I hope that this was at least fun and a little inspiring for you guys and gives you just a little glimpse. You know, I might not be as energetic as Tony, but hopefully I kind of portrayed some of that today because I was really trying to express what it's like and just give you guys a taste. So, you know.
Wait, I have a question for Anita. Are you in Cincinnati now?
Yeah.
And that's where you're doing your rehab, Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, right? Because I'm from Columbus, and three of my nieces and nephews live down there because they went to Xavier and UC and University of Cincinnati. So how is it down there? How is your climate, your business, your stuff? I mean, I know Columbus was crazy busy.
Yeah, it's things are flying off the shelf literally, and you put a rehab project up and it goes on market pretty. If you did it right, it goes.
Bless you.
Trying to find, again, my focus is mostly about rentals, so that's what my focus is, and just trying to get it's competitive because of the numbers, and some people have cheaper money or are willing to pay more, and there are some people who don't know how to do numbers and they probably overpay, and then that's why I come across people who have done rehabs halfway and they run out of money or something goes on. But yeah, it's
your Florida connection then.
I officially live in Fort Lauderdale. My primary residence is in Fort Lauderdale. I've lived there. I'm a native Florida girl in general.
What makes family Cincinnati in that area then?
Well, my family background comes from this part of Ohio. My uncle, before he passed, lived in Dayton, which is just an hour.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I spent a lot of time.
I come up here with my last name, which you see on the screen is only the short version, Blick. My last name is actually Blickensderfer.
Oh.
Very.
And Rick makes sure he says the whole name.
Yeah,
Blickensderfer.
One of my best friends growing up was Beemansterfer.
Well, very close. So up here, people they don't flinch when they see the Blickensderfer, very German name. They can spell it. Down in South Florida, oh my God, my students, when I was high school science teacher, where you would have so many Greek and Latin things that were so long and funky spelt that, the kids were like, oh my gosh, Miss B is so hot. Can we call you Miss B, Miss Blick? I'm like, no. There's worse things in science you have to say and spell that are not phonetic. If you just sound out my name, you can spell it. And it was a bonus question on all my quizzes and tests. And became a question on one of my tests. And by that time, the kids finally figured it out. And then I actually let them call me Miss B or Miss Blick, and I would answer their questions. Otherwise, I have a question. I'm like, what's my name? Like, bye. No, Miss, I need your help. Like, so eventually I was just play like that. But yeah, I have a house in Fort Lauderdale, born and raised on the Gulf Coast, been living in South Florida. Had the house since '94. I was a teacher down in South Florida for the 20 years. And, started my need a hand business once I left teaching, and did that for about 5 years before I started all of this.
Do you do any rehabs down there?
I had not. I started there first, and it was just, kind of like a California thing where when you first start out trying to, find a property to get it under contract was a challenge, and competitive for all of that. Very saturated, and on top of the fact that when you're a newbie, again, trying to find someone to fund that big a number is a lot more challenging. So I shifted to the Charlotte area where my sister and my mother live in the Concord. That was a little bit better, but it's still nothing really happened per se. So I said, you know what? I'm changing my focus. Forget rehab / wholesaling crap. I already have a rental property in the Cincinnati area in Covington, Kentucky, across the river. Had that since '07. I'm like, screw it. I'm just going straight for rentals. I don't care anymore, And that's when things started changing, and I get most of my properties out of auctions, actually. So
do you think the Midwest is a pretty strong market then for a lot of this stuff?
Yes. There was no delays on closings. It closed fairly quickly. In fact, the house I sold a while back ago here now actually wanted to close a week earlier, as opposed to later. The only thing
virtual. So Marie and I have started to touch on that a little bit, and I know Kent or who's teaching it, Marie and they're doing the virtual. Are you doing that? The virtual wholesaling or virtual buying?
I haven't done a virtual wholesale or anything like that. I do talk to, and I go see properties and stuff there. When I've gone with my realtor to certain things, when there's been tenants in it, that sometimes we were, especially in the beginning of COVID, we weren't allowed to go. Or the person at the time, oh, no, you can't come in, or something stupid, even though we got the okay to go. But we closed the title company in person. They gave options, like if you wanted to mask up or not, or, are you okay with, we're like, yeah, we're fine. I do a lot of virtual, like DocuSign stuff or other things, signing the contract when I'm, making an offer on a property, but that's been the case even before COVID.
Right, but we're just looking more for like, I know the Midwest is strong, and there's, again, Phoenix is pretty saturated and it's pretty strong right now. And it's not that that's a problem, because there's so many people moving here and it's good, but finding a good deal is a little bit hard right now. Like the Southern California, like the Floridas, and like that. But, I don't know, but there is still some strong markets out there, especially in the Midwest.
Yeah. But again, it's getting to a point where pretty soon I see the idea that for what the ARV is going to be and how much you have to, what you really need to do to it to make it a nicer house after the, to just to rehab what they're asking for. It's like, there are times I still feel that people are overpaying for certain properties. And sometimes those other people just have cheaper money, or they're willing, or they have cheaper labor, or they have a contact with a contractor that, whatever, than what I personally do right now. So that happens too. So,
no, it's good to know. We're just going to research some cities back there and see.
Definitely rental wise, if you're looking for rentals, this is definitely, Midwest is always the best place for rentals for sure. Because we have, as you know, like Columbus does, so you have every spectrum of, you have your A all the way down to your D class type of single family homes or multi-families or whatever, with whatever you're looking for. So you can find, your high end $400,000, $500,000 homes, but you can also find like a $50,000 home or less.
See, and that's not out here. Our like, oh, look, I got a deal, 400,000. You're like, there's not, I bought one house 3 years ago for 80, and that was a good deal. You can't find an $80,000 house here anymore.
Yeah. Well, my house in Fort Lauderdale, I couldn't buy it now. I could not buy my own house again. That's why I'll never sell it. I have like at least 200,000 in equity, at least, if not more. And my Covington property, since I've had it for so long, I probably have at least 120 or so equity in that. That I'm just, and that's been rented out. It's rarely gone vacant. So
yeah, that's good. I just want to thank you. I just wondered how it was back there. I know Columbus was hot and heavy, and still,
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Sure.
Okay, now I have another question then. Louis and Wendy, how is your house?
It's feeling okay. It was going slow up until now, and I think I've got them doing a big push now.
Lit a fire under them.
For one thing, in the contract, in about 9 days, I think, 9 or 10 days, we start subtracting $100 a day from their last payment.
Oh, good. Well, good. That's really good. That's a good enactment. And I know, and I'm asking that because this is your first one, and you put up a beautiful picture of the kitchen the other day, and we haven't seen anything else. And Louise, as long as you're not sticking your finger in any holes, then it's probably good. So.
No, they plugged up all the holes.
Okay, good. Good. Well, we're excited. I don't know if I can come next Wednesday because my book club, but I'll come by and see it at another time. I'll hit you guys up.
Yeah, just let us know, whenever you want to stop by. I mean, we would like to go ahead and we wanted to have you guys earlier, but it is a small house and there's just a lot of crap everywhere. I just didn't feel like it would just be difficult, to get everybody in there and tripping over things. And
is there air conditioning yet?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we care about.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And then
wait.
The what? So then I have a question for Susan. Have you found anything in Tucson yet?
I found a couple things, made offers, but didn't pan out. So still working at it. It's slow when I can't get there and see things. And
are you doing it all virtually?
I am, yeah. It all virtual. I am working with. I took on coaching with Craig Barton. I've been working with him a lot.
Okay. Is he helping you as like boots on the ground there?
Yes, he is. He offered to go look at anything for me that I needed eyes on. He offered to take care of that for me.
And will he help you with contractors and stuff?
Yeah, he offered that as well.
Okay, good. Because that was going to be my next question. How would you do that?
I'm planning to mainly do wholesaling right now, so I'm not going to run into too much issues with the contractors and stuff. But yeah.
How are you looking for your leads?
I've been doing some direct mail to try and get some pre-foreclosures. Obviously, the mind protein stuff that we teach, but that's about all I can do right now until I can do, driving for dollars or door knocking or things like that.
Well, let us know when you're here because Maria and I can take a road trip down there maybe.
I'd love to come see you guys too. Sounds like fun.
Especially from my house. I'm practically, like Liz says, she thinks I'm in North Tucson because I'm in Ahwatukee. So as far south as you can get.
So far. I mean, Phoenix. It's an hour away from each other. So that's awesome. So Elda, you sold your house?
Yeah, we sold ours. We're looking for another deal right now, but it's hard. Like the inventory is really low right now.
Yeah, I know it's tough. It'll come though, you guys. The thing is, unfortunately and fortunately, COVID's going to have an effect. And it's not going to be right now, but we're going to see it down the road. And hopefully, I mean, the thing is, it's again, putting in the mindset of helping people, here to help people and not take advantage of the people. But landlords are going to be, stuck. If, now we just in Arizona do see extended the tenants' rights out to, I think, October. So, I mean, if there's tenants not paying and they're in homes and the landlord's not being able to get some rent assistance or some mortgage delay or something, there's going to be some issues coming up. So we kind of have to hold tight. And it's just being in that mindset of how can we help people, not be like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. What can I do? It's like, how can, what are the best deals to help people in there, I think, are going to come down. And so it's like getting ready, just priming, being ready. And then having, what I think now too, I think that the thing with that is kind of niching it. Like, what do you think your price range wants to be? What kind of homes? What do you think you want to do? Because I think that'll be a factor too. So you're not all over. But that's just what I think I see. It's not going to be as bad as 2008. But there's definitely going to be situations that are going to happen.
Yeah, have you guys ever done seller financing? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we like the rehabs. I mean, we looked at a couple of houses for the past, a few of them in the past month, but the majority of them have been major foundation issues.
Oh,
yeah.
And I mean, as far as the other repairs are no problem, but it's the foundations, and it's almost every single house that we get.
Have you gotten those quoted at all?
No,
okay,
we
don't
haven't.
hesitate to get them quoted because we bought a house that had a major, it kind of freaks me out. In the end, it was $7,200. We renegotiated with the seller, and I was like, I mean, you hear foundation and you freak out. We run in a specialist. They did all this stuff. It was $7,200. She couldn't resell the house without disclosing that at that point. So we
exactly
the price. And everything was fine. And it was just, it was caused by the flood irrigation putting up against the foundation and causing the degrade of the foundation. Rebar, drilling it out, rebar in there, repouring it. It was done. I was like, oh, that was like nothing.
Yeah, because I was ready to give it's Arizona. I believe it was Arizona. What was it? No. Yeah, it's Arizona Foundation Solutions. But it was when they jack up the slab, and then they drill holes in it, and they pump concrete on the bottom of it to keep it from falling again. But I was hearing it was between a few thousand to even $100,000 for something like that. Oh my
God! Well, that would be rare tearing down the house. I would have them. So I just looked it up. Arizona Foundation Solutions is who we used.
Yeah, that's
have them come out because, I mean, they know. and then it's just a whole renegotiation, but you could get a good deal on that kind of a situation. Because again, we don't have basements. I mean, you know, there's the fissures out here where the land's literally, that would be different, a fissure where it's like separated because of something versus just like ours literally was flood irrigation, and 50 years later, too much water saturating that foundation caused it. But it might be worth the money to have them come out if you think the house is in a good area, the return on your investment could be good. Because
yeah, actually, Mia was looking at that one for us, and that actually what stopped us from, you know, going forward on the contract is because of that foundation. And
and then we found out there was black mold in the house.
Yeah, there was black mold present, so that was that.
Well, was it any? Okay, and so just again, as the devil's could any chance? I don't know what the value was, but tearing the whole house down and doing a rebuild.
In the area, I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't enough.
It was overpriced for what?
Okay, well, just in that, then rebuild.
Yeah.
They're gonna have an issue the whole time. So keep an eye on the house, because literally, if it comes down to the fact that okay, we're finally gonna get it, we bulldoze the whole thing, redo the foundation, and then they're gonna knock.
What's funny is the house was entirely remodeled.
Oh.
So somebody had already tried
to.
Yeah, so it was totally remodeled. So we knew from the beginning something.
They were trying to hide
something. Something's happening here. And then finally, when we submitted the contract for it, they gave up the inspection report. And then when we went back out there, it's the foundation was really bad.
I know. We got stuck with one of those with a plumbing issue on one of our houses, and it was like, oh, we could just do the whole house and forget the plumbing issue. Well, that wasn't the right thing to do. I mean, instead we ripped it all up. We ripped it up out to the sewer, and it was just the better thing to do. But that's the integrity part.
Yeah. So,
Mia, I'm just curious if you had your team meeting this week. What's any updates on the status of the market in general in Phoenix? I mean, I know we're still super low inventory.
So this morning was funny because I was on 2 meetings at the same time with Marie Camerano and my team meeting at the same time. But we did have a market status, and we're still in the same situation where we have less than 6,000 single family residences available right now on our market, and it's killing us. We're begging people to list their houses at this point. Like, not because real estate agents want to sell a house, but because we want to give a house to our buyers. And when we talk integrity, we can't even do that for first-time home buyers or anybody under 350,000 because we don't have enough houses on the market for all of the buyers that are out there, and we're really, really, really struggling. So you guys hear about anybody, even if they're not willing to invest with you, send them our way, get them listed. Like, I am looking for people who are ready to make that jump. And the thing is people can sell their house. This is the benefit right now. They can sell, whether they sell to an investor or sell on the market. They can literally sell their house and buy a house $50,000 above what they purchased their house for. And because of the interest rates, their monthly payment is almost the same.
I know, but they got to be able to get the house too, because there, as you say, there's not the inventory. So
yeah, but when you go up in price, it gets a little bit easier as you get a little bit higher every time. So I mean, up above 350,000, there's houses on the market.
Well, I'm going to have a house soon, so not soon, but a couple months. So start marketing mine.
Yeah. So what about new builds, Mia? So do I need to just find some land and build some affordable housing?
Yes. And idealistically, if you could get a property and get new builds built, our new build companies right now, I don't know if anybody knows anything, but the South Phoenix area is skyrocketing. There's over 43 new build communities in the South Phoenix area. So if you want to know where you should be building, don't tell Maria I just told you where we should be building. That's where it's at. There's so much going on with the 202 going in there and everything. There's so many new build communities that know that that's where it's at. That's where the land is at. That's where all the new build communities are coming in. And that whole area is starting to.
And so now I just read in the Phoenix Business Journal today that Amazon bought a bunch of property out of the 303, and all those box places are out there. You know, and then it's just box after box. So all those people are also going to need a place. So I'm going to say the West Valley, you know, because if you're going to put an Amazon fulfillment center out there, which is I'm assuming what they're going to do, that's going to be another affordable housing area is out off the 303.
Yes. South and West Valley are hot, and they're just going to get hotter. And that's one of the reasons why when people keep talking about this crash, my team and I don't believe that there's going to be a crash. We think that in Phoenix, there might be a dip just because we are on the rise so fast. And if the rise doesn't balance, then there could be a hiccup. But we still are the fastest growing city in the United States. And people still believe that Phoenix is the safest city in the United States because we have the heat. And in regards to COVID and everything else, there's a lot less to worry about. And we're not slowing down. Phoenix has not slowed down in people moving here. Yeah. And Phoenix has not slowed down to people buying houses here. It's still hot. The market is still hot. So,
or at least Phoenix Metro, right? Surrounding cities. So it might not be Phoenix, but if you're looking at any of the surrounding cities.
Everything around here, Maricopa.
And I want to ask Janet real quick. Janet, how's your house? What's happening with your?
They sold.
House? It did?
You know what, it's interesting. Hi, guys. You know what is interesting? We sold the property. I mean, we sold it. We didn't know that was another fortune builder who bought that property.
Oh.
She wrote us, she sent us a message and she said, this is one of the cleanest property that I ever have seen.
Was it somebody here in Phoenix?
Yeah, this person, I think, but is she from Phoenix? When did you come here? I don't know exactly where she's at.
Yeah, tell Stuart we want to see that handsome.
Get him in there.
Hey, come here. They want to see your face.
Tell Stuart he's got to do 10 jumping jacks standing behind you. He's got to put himself in a peak state first.
I wish he saw the whole meeting. He was in the tight window.
Stuart!
My man. Hey, there's Eddie. That's the man right there. Eddie. Oh, my goodness. Everyone, round of applause for Eddie. Seriously. He rocks. He came out. He helped me out of a couple situations. He's incredible. That's the man right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
This deal would not have happened like it did without him. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me, I got to write down the phone number before I forget.
Yeah, write it down.
In our group chat.
So what Mia said about South Phoenix, that is totally, really, South Phoenix is really hot. We saw this property right here. It's called Avance. And that started like 600,000. It started from 600,000.
It's where that Phoenix Country Club golf course used to be.
Oh yeah. I know.
Yeah, now it's starting in the 600s and 700s now.
Wow.
No, it is going up. It's going 700 right now. You know how those new developments, you get it and it's starting going up by hundreds?
I looked at a property last week and I talked with one of the neighbors to the house, and I don't know if it's true, but she told me that they were starting in the 800s now. Wow. They're huge. They got the casitas on them, the mother-in-law room and everything.
Yeah.
Not a lot of yard space, but the homes are big.
And the view of the downtown city, and they have a nice, big, huge, kind of like Olympic size swimming pool, like a community swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it's expensive over there. Very expensive.
But Mia, would you think that like Levine, Buckeye, like these are places where you could build maybe something that would be a little bit more affordable?
Yes.
Right now that people are looking for, and are you seeing that people are buying in that, $200,000 to $300,000 range, let's say?
100%. So recently I have a buyer who's in the $230,000 price range, and I started looking into it, and she's like, well, I want a new build. And, 6 months ago you could get a new build for that. Now doesn't seem like you can. I pull up and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 6 new build communities under 250,000. This is amazing. How many of those houses do you think are available today?
None.
Every single new build community in these communities are sold out quickly, to the point that there are people literally, I'm not kidding, this is what new build communities are doing, is they're like, we'll release 7 houses a month because that's as many as we can build in a month. And so on day 1 of the following month that they're getting ready to release their next set of 7 houses, there's 45 people sitting in front of the community waiting for their spot for this community. And it's not a nice community. It's not even a nice builder. It's literally the basics of basic. But that's where people can find these houses. And because flippers have kind of lost a lot of trust in the past for $200,000 houses that have been remodeled, people are looking towards, okay, I can spend $230,000 now with a low interest rate on a new build. And so that's where people are leaning towards. And they're decent neighborhoods, they're new neighborhoods, they're everything that people are looking for right now. And Laveen and those southern cities and are really where people are looking. And the 202 just opened up, so even East Valley people are willing to live in the South Phoenix area because they can hop on the 202 and just jump right over.
Now that they redid it.
And there's no traffic, kind of like the 303.
I signed on my refinance today, so my Sunset property is officially refinanced. And down at my like 4.5% interest rate for the investment property, and everything's all good. But the title agent came down, and she lives out in Peoria. So she's like, I'm coming to your house to sign some paperwork or whatever. And she's like, it was my first time on that new 202. It's so beautiful. She was like, it's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I've taken it a few times to get out to the west side now. It's really, it's just a beautiful area to drive through, and it makes getting to that side of town just so much more convenient. You avoid that whole Broadway curve, miserable traffic and everything. So, and now
Which
for
is
me,
funny considering we still barely have traffic yet.
I know. But for me, now I could do some properties over there because I can get there and it not take me an hour and a half to drive all the way around the other way. Yep. So, Liz, that might be something we have to look at. We might do some new builds in Laveen.
I know, and after doing my Indianola property, I would do new builds again. It's friggin' way much easier. Although I had a lot of hiccups, but yeah, it's just.
Well, you're almost doing new builds now anyways. I mean, do you count as a rehabber? You rip them all down and fix them all up. Come on.
Replacing walls.
I know.
I love you, Liz.
I know. It's where I'm at. All right, people. I'm turning into a pumpkin.
No, I was just going to say it's that time. Thank you all so much for joining us. Camilo, it was nice meeting you. I'm glad you got to introduce yourself to the group. Hopefully we can reach out and get him some connections. Welcome to the Valley.
Yeah.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Awesome. Look at those little people.
I know. All right, if y'all get together next week, I'm not sure if I can make it, but it's not because I don't love you, but it's my other Wednesday night commitment.
No, I know. Enjoy your book club. Wendy, keep in touch. Let me know if next week works for you for an in-person tour at your property.
Let's just tentatively plan on it. I'll be in touch, to let you know for sure, but I in my mind, we're doing it.
Perfect.
There's a lot of things in her mind, though.
Make it happen.
And Eddie, I'll be calling you, Eddie, because with all my rental properties, I know I need a handyman every once in a while. My husband gets sick of being my handyman, so.
Okay, well, I'm ready. So just let us know.
All right. Sounds good. Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Marie. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.